There it goes.
There we
Touch
are.
something.
Now it's official.
It's official. Hi, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. I feel like a sandwich.
Look how
Good
little
morning,
you
Tracey.
look
Let
between
me
us.
sit there.
I know. Oh my God. You're tiny in the thing.
You're adorable.
Okay.
Oh,
So
thank you, Maura.
You're welcome.
But I look in the mirror.
and the debauchery begins. All right. So what's happening this week? We had a really big week last week. Really big week.
Busy.
We had 4. How many closings did Lynn and Sharon have last week? Do you know off the top
I
of
have
your
no
head?
idea.
Okay, because we had a buyer settle on Melville, another one seller down in Dumfries. We had 2 of our sellers close. So it was a really busy week last week for our folks, which we'll get into in a minute. But what's happening in the world of Northern Virginia? What do we have to do this week? What's happening?
Well, Ingrid is all over this.
Ingrid's
No.
all over it.
No.
Yes, you are. You have a piece of paper with notes and everything.
I do. Well, I do. I have to keep notes anymore. But, well, one of the things that I saw on television yesterday, and that has to do with Virginia. They go all over Virginia, and they, things to do and places to visit. And
So this is on TV. Is it like a local channel?
no, I don't know what channel. It's
Okay.
just, you click through, and there it is.
Super specific, everybody.
Anyway, but they had
The talking box on the wall.
they had on there the museum at the Lorton Workhouse on women's voting rights.
Yeah, the
Is that right?
suffragist
The word just
movement.
left me.
The
And
suffragist
they were
movement.
going through that, and that was so interesting that I now want to go to it. So, just so that you know, it's open on Saturday, tomorrow, from 12 o'clock on. You need to go visit.
Is tomorrow the first day?
It just said
No,
tomorrow.
Okay.
they've been working. They've always had a memorial. It's in the Occoquan Regional Park next to the workhouse.
Okay.
Next to the workhouse. And by the way, that was one of your Christmas gifts that we were going to take you to that. Remember?
Oh.
Remember?
No, but it was.
Yeah, the kids were going to take me
They
and Griff out of
They
that.
took you through that,
Yeah.
and it was really, really interesting.
So yeah, and what's neat about it is that one of the old brick ovens, which looks like a little beehive brick oven.
Oh, I know where that is. That's when you first go down into
Yeah,
the park.
So that's where the whole thing is.
Okay.
So essentially, what they used to have is just the old brick oven and a couple of plaques, and then they redid it with the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment.
Okay.
They redid the whole thing, and now it's a nice museum. The inside, they redid a bunch of the outside stuff, but it goes through the Night of Terror, the arrest of all of the
everything. Yeah,
women
it was-
and men who were arrested protesting
Wow.
Wilson for the right to vote. And there's a nice cafe there, and then you can go hiking
So
around
have
the
you
original
been there?
park. I have been there before the museum had opened, and I had tickets to go, and because I don't think you need tickets, but the first when it was opening, you did. And so I had tickets to go and check it out prior to COVID, and then COVID had to ruin it all up, and
Well,
nobody could do
anyway,
anything.
folks, they're open from
Yeah.
12 o'clock on tomorrow.
Yeah, it's super.
Go. It looked really interesting. And while you're there, the
What week is it?
second Saturday Workhouse Arts Walk is going to take place. And that's featuring local artists and music. And that's going to be from 6 to 9 p.m.
Now, is that indoors?
Yes.
It's indoors. Okay.
That's good because
Just
the
in
weather's
case,
gonna be
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
the weather.
Right.
And this may, depending what they're saying, we could get from a little bit to 4
full-on
inches.
nastiness. Okay.
So, but anyway, Maura, you had something.
Oh, I did. Okay. So can I jump to St. Patrick's Day? 'Cause
Yes.
I kind of want to.
Because
Okay.
you kind of wanna.
Because I want to.
Because
Okay.
you're
So
kind of Irish.
yeah. So a little weird this year. So tomorrow is the Manassas St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Whoop, whoop.
It's like right down Center Street. Starts at 11.
We can park at Century 21 Redwood's Manassas
And watch
office
the
and
wedding.
watch the parade.
Let's do
Yeah,
that.
they're going to have all
Well,
kinds
it's
of
carpool, though.
bagpipe
Bagpipe.
people.
And technically
drums
they're
and-
Scottish, but
But it's an Irish dancing and all kinds
it's
of
like
stuff.
Celtic, more Celtic. Okay, yeah. And then in the Alexandria one, which they have usually a huge one, they're having theirs in September this year.
Really? They kicked the can.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know if it was a COVID thing or.
Okay, because I know that Ocean City just canceled their big one.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, they
and
were worried about
Washington
the weather.
canceled theirs.
Oh.
But I just figured next year you'll get really within 6 months 2 St. Patrick's Day parades. This year
That's so
too.
exciting.
Yeah. And then the other thing, this is a little bit far out. Do you know where Staunton is? Am I saying
Yeah,
that right?
Staunton, Stanton.
Yeah, this is a town in
Down
Massachusetts
by-
called Staunton. So
This
that's how
is
I say
down
it.
by James Madison.
Yes, they're doing road bowling, okay, which is a really popular sport in Ireland. Oh, very old,
They all bowl
hundreds
on
of
the
years
road.
old. Yeah, they take metal balls and they whip them down those curvy roads in Ireland.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a lot different than doing it probably. But they have this little league in Staunton that does it.
The
and-
roads in Ireland are no bigger than a bowling alley.
Yeah, true. They're not as straight though. So anyway, I thought that would be kind of a unique thing, and it's on our website, so you can go and check that out.
Road trip.
Yep.
Oh,
And then
you could get, oh my gosh, you know it would be a really fun road trip to do that? If you're going to go road bowling, go to the Shenandoah Beer Works
okay,
website, and you can get a passport to the
Yes.
breweries up and down 81
that's a good
in
one.
the Shenandoah Valley. And it's fun because you can take a quiz, and they'll be like, okay, if you like this, go here. If you like that, go there. And you can do your whole passport, and you could do the Beer Works tour with
That would be with football.
with Wood.
That would be really
That would be
fun.
really fun.
That would be
Okay.
fun.
Anyways.
All right, my last one. This week is Restaurant Week in
Yeah.
the city of Fairfax. So
Yeah.
get out there and try some restaurants.
Get out there and try some restaurants.
Support those small businesses.
All right, so let's see what else has happened in the world. This right here, super excited. Congratulations to my purchaser. He's closed on one house and turned around and put the proceeds back into this brand new townhouse
Good
in
for
Loudon.
him. That's awesome.
Stay tuned for the exciting details to what he had to do to get it, because it was not for the faint at heart. But he did it. He does get to keep his children. Just kidding.
Wow.
And his firstborn.
He's
So,
lucky.
yeah, he's lucky. In the meantime, this is what I was just talking about. Congratulations to our sellers who got into the neighborhood of their dreams, and they really worked it. This is one which is kind of a hack to this market that we're in. She had connections into the neighborhood, put out her feelers, joined the Facebook page, got wind of this one coming on the market, and it checked all the boxes based on the rumor mill in the neighborhood. So I was able to reach out to the listing agent and say, hey, we've got somebody, and you're not in the MLS yet. Can we please have a tour? And they were kind enough to let us do that. So the deal here was the fact that they didn't have to compete. Now that said, they had to compel that seller to take their offer.
Right.
So they had to throw everything at it to get it, and they got it. But super excited. They're going to start. There's a rent back involved, so they'll be moving in May. Very exciting. Then this is one of my favorite ones in my write-up. If you need to go see it. It's a great little write-up. If you go to our focusonnova.com/properties, you'll see this one posted. This was a single mom who was trying to get her place, and it was a tiny little price point down in Dumfries, Virginia, and she got this great condo with like 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, an outdoor deck, and another patio, and a fenced-in yard for the dog.
Wow.
So she's super excited about it, and it was just the team of Wonder Women that helped this lady get over the press
how
side.
big this is.
It is. It was
And
a
it's a
really
condo.
big place. Yeah, it's almost 2,000 square feet.
Yeah,
For a condo.
It's big. I mean, the
Yeah.
main level is very open and
Yeah. So
It
we had
really
driven
is nice.
all over the place as far as looking at stuff, and written 2 other offers, and they didn't go through. And again, it was the Focus on Nova women's team, like really bringing it to just make sure she get all these things.
And during International Women's Week.
And during International Women's Week, and we went one step further because we are less familiar with Dumfries, so we phoned a friend and called up our good friend Kristen Burns down in Dumfries, and she is like the queen of Dumfries as far as real estate. She's like, yeah, great neighborhood, go for it, throw the book at it. So this is what I love. You don't have to have a gajillion dollars to win in this market, and she had all this thing. Her budget, she paid $297. Her budget was up to $350. So she had some wiggle room here, and so she was saving on some of the closing costs. And when we went in, we went $2,000 over substantiated comps. And in English, what that means is all the other things had sold for like $280, and there was one other one that sold at $295. So she went in and said, I will pay $297 for this property. And then she had $2,000 left over, and she says, and I will waive $2,000 of my appraisal contingency. And the guy called back. Oh, let me back up. Her lender was the Jolene Moore Main Street Home Loans team, who was super communicative to the point that at closing, this buyer made a point to say thanks for all the communication. She loved it. And then we used Echo Title in Centerville with Lisa Mitchell, and Lisa Mitchell's reputation preceded her because when we submitted the contract, the listing agent flat out said, I've heard of you. Your lender has already called and made me feel really good about this. And I love Lisa Mitchell at
Wow.
Echo Title. I know this is going to get done. I have a contract that's higher than the one that you've submitted, but they're not doing anything about the appraisal. And I love that she's going to be able to try to help me out one way or the other and make value happen. We're picking your offer.
Wow.
And so it matters who you work with. Pick that team. So it really was just from buyer all the way to closing. It was just the team of Wonder Women. So it makes my heart happy. And then this guy, this is the Alexandra Groves one. So this is just indicative of the market. And what I keep telling people is we're moving forward. This one was listed at $825. No, it wasn't. It was listed at $925,000. And we had like 40 showings in 2 days, ended up with 4 really good offers right out the gate. 2 of them came in at $125, which was represented almost 11% over asking price, and all contingencies were removed. And my seller said, it's enough, we don't need to go anymore, and they pulled it off the market and ratified it with 11% over asking and 0 contingencies on the table. No home inspection, no appraisal, no nothing.
Wow.
So when we're counseling our folks, over and over again, this is what we're seeing. Right. This is just what we're seeing. So, congratulations to our sellers and those new buyers. All right, let's see what's happening this week.
Okay.
On Focus on Nova. Oh, I'm going to let you do this one, Miss Maura.
All right. Well, this was a beautiful townhouse in Lake Point.
If you do say so yourself.
If I do say so myself. So this went under contract this week, and we have this I have this great buyer that came through, and he loved the community. Really, he was just insistent on moving there. Young man, and has been saving up to buy his house. So he met with Lynn and I, and we counseled him on this market, and
he showed up.
He showed up, and he
listened.
He listened, and he took our advice, and he asked a lot of questions, and he put forth a very strong offer.
Yeah.
And his mother can walk to the house.
His mother was important for his mom. But no,
we couldn't negotiate that out of the deal.
No,
that was important here.
So yeah, it went under contract in 2 days. I mean,
right.
It was
more than that because we held the deadline. But yeah, so Lynn and I had the listing. This is a neighborhood that we work in a lot, Lake Point and New Lake Point over in Burke. And this seller called us. There's a job transfer happening, and he said, I've seen your work. It looks good. He was really impressed with the listing appointment. So we did what we do here. We gave him the honey-do list. They rolled up their sleeves and put the sweat equity into it. We helped stage the property using their own furniture and supplementing it with some staging so that it photographed well. One person actually pulled Lynn aside and said, well, you know how every weekend there's that one listing that's hot? This is it. And it was. So we listed on a Thursday. We set a deadline for 8 p.m. Sunday. We had 91 scheduled showings. In that
2
time
very
period.
active open houses.
And 2 really active open houses that you and Lynn held open, which is where you met your client.
That's where I met my client.
And what was great is we ended up with 16 offers, and you're just going to have to stay tuned. This was listed at $480,000, and it did not sell for that. So stay tuned for more information. Log Ridge, what you get for?
What? Yeah, this was another great townhouse in Ridgetop over
Fairfax, over by Wegmans.
By Wegmans. This was a client who had just bought a house. He was initially going to rent it, and then he said, let's see. Yeah, so we did. Out. And it was, he had done a lot of updates. It's a beautiful house inside. And the one nice feature about this house was it had the basement had like the 20-foot ceilings, which you don't usually see. So this agent called me and said, my client has been looking for a basement with soaring ceilings. And I said, we have soaring ceilings.
We have that.
So anyway, another one that had probably 40 showings scheduled before we didn't even get to the open house, and it was listed for $665. And it sold for $695,000 to the man who wanted the soaring ceilings.
Amazing.
Yeah, so
amazing.
It was great.
Right, but then what Maura does here in this series is what we do and break it down as far as 5% down, 10% down, 20% down, and what those monthly payments look like. And she's going to explore that fully, and you'll be able to see the interior of the property. So stay tuned. Plus, we'll be putting a reel up on Instagram and story on Facebook to capture that information as well. Awesome. All right, theater groups. You did this one, right?
Yeah.
I
feel like you're talking.
About it. Well,
no, go right.
Tell us about the theater groups that you know.
That I know nothing about.
Well, there's so much theater, like live theater. We're so lucky, right?
Yes.
There's just so much going on.
Yes.
But there's a lot of really quality local theater groups around us. And so we took this opportunity to go out and look at the small local theaters that are still professional. They're called professional community local theaters. So, and all of their current performances that are coming up. So if you go on our website and take a look, you'll see it all there.
So like name 2 or 3. Put you on the spot here.
You really are.
All right.
I wrote this a little while ago.
Okay, so go to our website. It's on Hot and Fresh News. You'll find that there. And then I went through pre-market inspections. And yes, as you can see here behind Ingrid, seller and buyer. There are pros and cons for the seller to do a pre-market inspection. Just basically find out what's there, nip it in the bud, or adjust your price accordingly. And then in this market, if you have a home inspection, I'm not going to say it will never go through because I talked to our home inspector yesterday and he's got 9 legitimate inspections happening.
Okay.
Right.
That's unusual.
And I asked him where too, and it's all over the map. Arlington, Alexandria, Ashburn. I mean, he's going everywhere and it's happening. So maybe there might be some softening. I'm not seeing it with our stuff yet.
Well, we should talk about the alternative to that.
Right, which is what this talks about. So from a buyer standpoint, there are options for full home inspection before you submit an offer. Walk and talk home inspections before you submit an offer, because one of the things to remember where Virginia is totally unique is we are buyer beware, and it can be really scary because you could buy something. We're dealing with one right now that is a hot mess, and it's your problem. You didn't do your due diligence prior to buying it, and you must accept it. Now your seller can't commit fraud, but then enforcing that's going to cost you $1 bajillion in attorney's fees. Yeah. So point is, you really need to know what you're buying, and you need to be comfortable with that. So at a minimum, having a licensed home inspector walk you through a property and do either a full home inspection or just an eyeballs on the scene is really recommended, so that you don't get stuck.
Of any sort?
Who, these people? That we're not going to talk about that right now. On the internet forever and ever.
No, I don't.
We're going to keep on moving on. This week coming up, pay attention. Your property taxes, in case you haven't opened your mail lately, have gone through the roof. And the reason why is that the county has changed their assessments to keep up with what is happening in this real estate market. So your taxes have gone sky high. Part of that is going to be going towards transportation and transportation build out. And Lynn has done a real great article on Northern Virginia Transportation Plan. So again, you can go to Hot and Fresh News, development updates, and that is going to be there. So be on the lookout for that one. It's important. You've done all of the St. Patrick's Day fun celebrations and stuff.
I didn't do this particular one.
You did it?
No,
Lynn did
it.
Yeah. Oh, I lied. Lynn's been busy. So
where is that?
That is on the Facebook this week. So be on the lookout for that. I think it's actually going up on St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
Not Thanksgiving's Day.
No.
Okay, but it's going up on St. Patrick's Day. So look for that on Thursday.
And I will say there's also in the things to do a bunch of St. Patrick's
places
to celebrate.
Maura does that all the time too. There's going to be another what you get for this one's at $631. So what I want you to pay attention to is at $695 versus $631. Fairfax, Westcott Ridge. That's a fun, not Westcott Ridge, Ridgetop. Putting those two side by side. What can you get in Herndon in a location that's super convenient to where the Silver Line is going to be coming out to? Right now it's the Park and Ride, but when it opens, it will be its own metro station next to Wegmans and Fairfax. And you can see commensurate sales prices, roughly $60,000 differential, and you can see the difference there with what you get for. Lovely listing that Lynn and Sharon has. Yeah, it was fun to stage that one. And last but not least, we can round it out. Things to do this weekend. You can visit Maura Stevens on Saturday and Sunday. What time?
Saturday I will be there 12 to 2, and Sunday 1 to 3.
Okay, and this is a beautiful listing in Centerville Sequoia Farms. It's zoned for Westfield High School, Stone Middle School, and I'm not going to remember the elementary school off the top of my head, but really nice property, beautiful listing. You can see more pictures on Focus on Nova Properties section or just on our homepage. Click on it, and Lynn will have it all updated there. But check it out. It's a lovely listing. And do you remember what it's priced
$730,000.
$730,000. So real nice for a colonial. I'm actually showing it this afternoon to our buyers. So anyhow,
I was just thinking.
I know. Lynn texted me this morning and said,
"This would be a good
house for them," which we're showing it to them. Yes. I got a text from Lynn this morning. "Good morning, Mrs. Barrett. It would be lovely. I see you're showing my listing. It would be lovely to work with you." And I said, "Thank you, Mrs. Norusis. I look forward to showing your listing. Maybe we can work together again." So yeah, check that out if you're in the Centerville market for a colonial at $730. Lots of house for your money there. And I think we were all hungry because I think we all had this on our things to do list, and I just put the slide in here. Fairfax City really has come just such a long way in the last 15 years as far as what's available. I mean, and most of the restaurants are participating in it. Ald Shabin has reservations that you can set up. Dolce
Maybe not for St.
Vita.
Patrick's Day, but
Actually, there are.
there?
I
Right,
think.
okay.
But then
The Hamrocks is really, really
Hamrocks is participating. Dolce Vita was participating. But get in there and check. Oh, Anita's is participating. Yeah, there's really some good restaurants that you can check out, and you can see here that the lunch is $20 a person, and the dinners are $35 person, and then there's 2 for $10 deals. And I don't know what that is. I guess that would be like appetizers or something. But
and Artie's is open.
Yeah, Artie's is reopened
March
after the
1st,
fire.
Yeah, they just opened March 1st.
Have you popped back in there yet?
No, but I understand it's exactly the same as it was. So
Elaine, our friend
Elaine
went there.
told us.
Okay, well, don't
Yeah.
mess with perfection. I mean, it was
No,
you can
but-
get your burger now.
Well, I don't enjoy them as much as I used to, but we'll try.
Oh, Cameron's chocolate. What is it? Cameron's Coffee and Chocolate Shop on the
Yeah,
same
is that
shopping center,
participating?
Fairfax Circle. They're participating. I mean, check it out. It's a lot, and it's everything from coffee and breakfast down to really exquisite dinners. So, or a stout with beer and dinner and pot roast or whatever. So, all right. That's
Awesome.
it.
Have a good Friday, guys.
Yeah,
Good weekend.
contact us for your real estate needs, or if you just can't find what we talked about, we're happy to point you in the general direction. I'm getting a phone call. I'm going to log out
Business
here.
calls.
Business is calling. I can't. Okay, here we go. So I'm turning this off, and
Maybe.